I'm going to draw my life. Yay! On September 15th, 1992, I popped out. At the time, it was my mom, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, my other aunt, and my grandma all living in this tiny little apartment. I suppose you could say it's like a stereotypical immigrant lifestyle. Of course, there's little old me too. My mom is an awesome lady. I love my mom. She immigrated from Malaysia in her early 20s and moved to Toronto to start a new life with her best friend. If you don't know where Malaysia is, it's in Asia. My dad is from Vietnam and moved to Canada as a refugee during the Vietnam War. Everyone in my family is Vietnamese except for my mom, which is pretty cool. My dad is kind of a hard ass. When I didn't listen, he made me stand facing a wall and pull my ears. He had this stick he used to whack my butt when I misbehaved. He put it high above the dartboard so I couldn't get it. I love my dad. I watched a lot of TV growing up. I had Pokemon, The Magic School Bus, Dragon Ball Z. Goku was the man. I always thought I was like little Goku because I was Asian, but out of the blue, I got a sister. This is when my family really started traveling, and we traveled a lot. We went to New York, Disneyland, we even went whale watching. We traveled almost all of Eastern Canada, all except for Newfoundland, because I got sick. I love lobster, and on that trip I ate a lot of it, and I got a serious stomachache that lasted about a week. I felt like I was dying. Fishing was a big part of my life growing up. We went ice fishing, dock fishing, we went fishing everywhere. Our motto was, big or small, we catch them all! Thanks, Uncle George. I tagged along with my dad and his fishing buddies every weekend. I remember asking my friend if his dad was half white because Uncle George's English was so good I didn't know if he was white or Asian. One day my dad brought home a PlayStation 1. My very first game console! I wasn't big into music or anything, but I loved gaming and I got addicted. I spent hours playing bass fishing, Punky Skunk, Final Fantasy. This one where you had to use pigs and throw them at stuff. I don't remember what it's called. School was always a good time for me. A little ways into elementary school, in grade 2, I met Kyle and became best friends. Played every sport in school. I remember very clearly this one basketball game where I was fouled and went to the free throw line and shot the ball up and over the backboard. School and sports made me a happy kid. Then I got dial-up internet with all the stupid noises. I'm a PC and this opened up another world of gaming. This is when I met my friend Dan and we hit it up big time. He introduced me to a game called Counter-Strike, and we spent thousands of hours scrimming and owning noobs, chatting over Ventrilo. He got me into Guild Wars, where I played a monk called Defy the Gods, and he was a warrior called Forsaken Velocity. Good times, man. GD for life. We had other games on the side too, like Gunbound, which is kind of like Worms, but Asian. There was also Rose Online, where we owned everyone with our dual-wielding Hawker characters. Sick. Played so much, we logged like a bajillion hours playing games online. So much that my dad would take the cable connecting the tower to the monitor and hide it in his locker. When I wasn't gaming, I was spending time with my family. I love my family. In grade 6, we went on a trip and I flew in my first airplane, but things didn't go so well. The airline that we flew on went bankrupt when we landed, almost ruining our trip. We flown to Vegas, then drove to LA and up to San Francisco, then flew to Calgary for a few hours before heading home. From Miami, we went on a cruise where I got extra fat because all you do is eat, and I remember getting 6 on the beep test when I came back. In grade 10, I went on a trip to Europe where we went to London, we went to Italy, Greece, and Greece was my favorite place out of the 3 by far. We went to Cuba 3 times because my dad loves it there. I've been to Mexico where I saw the Mayan ruins and I made my mom go ziplining, which was pretty funny. And I've also been to Jamaica, which was alright, I guess. My parents spoiled us because they're the best and I love them. With all the gaming I did pretty well in school in terms of friends, or at least, well, I thought they were my friends. My school wasn't very multiracial in that I was literally the only Asian kid in it, and for the longest time I thought I was white, because I never got picked on or made fun of for being different. I guess I was lucky. My classmates would call me Tank and stuff. I thought that was because I was bigger than everyone, or fatter, or big boned, or something. I didn't really have a group I associated with, so I'm what you call a floater. I guess I'd say I'm a nerd or a jock, but I really hung out with everybody. When I went home, I still had my online friends, and Dan was always there asking me to play games. So, it's pretty awesome. I love you, bro. High school is where I floated most of all. It was mainly because my school consisted of potheads smoking weed all day, or drug dealers, and pregnant teenagers. I guess that's what you get for living in the South End. Whatever. I didn't do any of that stuff. So I floated around until I joined the soccer team. It didn't take long to make friends, because at the first tryout, the teacher taking attendance was like, Benny Ha! And everyone laughed. So I got recognized throughout the school and on the team as Benny Ha! I joined the snowboarding club with my friend Kyle. We get to skip the last class every Tuesday and go snowboarding until dark. He was the only person I boarded with until then. In grade 10, something happened. I was by myself on the last run through the terrain park. I hit the last jump way too fast and bailed at the last second. My binding came off and I landed right on my shoulder and dislocated it. I had no idea what happened. My arm kept constantly popping out after that. I fell out playing soccer 4 times, and I fell out throwing a basketball. I flopped out twice when I was training to be a lifeguard, and once while I was swimming. The final straw came when I was stupid enough to play rugby and tried to tackle the biggest guy on their team. My mom wasn't very happy. I felt like Mrs. Nesbitt for a while. I was sad. I couldn't play sports or do anything with my arm anymore without it dislocating. I was in a sling on and off for about 1.5 years. I had enough and I decided I had to get surgery. I was back in a sling for a few months after my surgery. The pain went away and I was left with 3 cool looking scars. Well, kind of cool anyway. When I started rehab, I met a girl named Sarah who was a student working in the clinic. She did my ultrasound every week and she liked talking about Waterloo and how awesome kinesiology was. So every time I went in, we talked about university. She told me how awesome and fun first year is and anatomy classes and the human body. She influenced me so much that I decided to go to Waterloo and take kinesiology. It was sports and science. It was perfect. The doctor said I wouldn't get full range of motion back in my shoulder, but I persisted and I proved them wrong. I was consistent in doing my rehab exercises. I did them every day because I wanted to get better. It was my first real exposure to exercise. My insurance ran out for my rehab, but my arm was pretty much 100%. I started going to the gym. I started lifting weights and learning exercise variations. I was like, man, I'm so jacked. But when all I did were chest and arms, I was like, why am I still fat? After working out, I was drinking whey protein. I threw some almonds in it, raw eggs for more protein, blended it all together, but the muscle milk didn't work. One night, I was sitting on the couch in front of my TV watching infomercials. I looked down at my muffin top and I got really, really sad. Then P90X came on for the millionth time. It was that moment where I had a huge turning point in my fitness. I figured, why not? So I pirated it. I figured it was a stupid scam, but after the first workout, I knew it wasn't a joke. 90 days later, I was looking leaner than ever before. A few more rounds and modifications later, I looked so sexy that I had a first six-pack. Life was changing. I had a new body, new confidence, new outlook on life, going to a new place in a few months. Life was good. Then I found out my friend had taken his own life. It was the first funeral I've ever been to. I was confused that I was so calm throughout the entire funeral process. Right up until the very end when they were putting the casket in the back of the hearse, I started really, really crying. They told me it's because of school, but so I took it upon myself not to let school get in my head. A few months later, I'm in Waterloo. I was so excited. Black and yellow, school spirit, and not really. I was in North Sea, a co-ed residence with 50 girls and 50 guys. We all bought these Mario t-shirts with our year printed on the back. It's named after this Asian pothead named Mario, so I'm not sure why we did that. My new confidence led me to girls. I didn't know if it was the new look, the confidence, or the college life, but I didn't care. One of them was lucky enough to be my first kiss. Or unlucky. I'll let you guess who she is. First year was fun with all the partying and the dubstep bass drops, but my marks began to plummet as well. I got my first failure. It was the first chemistry midterm and I got 37%. Then in physics class I got a 50% on the first midterm. All I could think about at the time was my friend. So in the second term of first year, I decided to stop screwing around and hit the books. And I knocked it out of the park. My marks went up dramatically. Pretty good because I had no idea what kin was. One Sunday afternoon, I was Skyping my dad in my dorm room. He told me that grandma had passed away. I couldn't believe it. My friend, now, my first family funeral. It was Monday because I had to miss my psych class. I hopped on a Greyhound bus and I transferred to a train to get home. I spent the day preparing and attended the wake in the evening. When it was all over, my family drove me back to school the same night. I've never seen my family members so sad before. My grandma had been living with us in the same household ever since they moved to Canada, and now she's gone. I miss you, Grandma. That night back in Waterloo, girl number 1 came and asked me if I was alright. I guess it was because my eyes were mega puffy. Quick story about girl number 1. At first, I thought she was a major brat. When we first met, she would slap me in the face whenever she was drunk, and she thought it was funny, and she thought she was being playful, but it hurt. She changed after that night, and we bonded over this stupid anatomy coloring book I bought for school. I colored it in, and I'd let her do some, and she'd color out all the lines. She'd be like, "Hey, I'm done, look." I'd be like, you color so good? A few weeks later, I went to Snow Jam, a skiing trip at Mont Tremblant. It was 3 days of snowboarding, beer, and dubstep with 5 of the coolest friends. After the trip, the following day, girl number 1 and I started dating. Life was good. Up until now, I've only had 5 jobs. I did a few random jobs, worked ergonomics, and now my most recent one was at a physio clinic. I've never had a job for more than 4 months. The physio clinic is the same one I went to for my shoulder rehab. I came, full circle. I had a job, a girlfriend, straight A's, I had awesome friends. Life was good. In September, I found out my mom had breast cancer. She had to remove her entire left breast and have a lumpectomy on the right. She went through chemo and all her hair fell out. During my 4 months at the clinic, my mom was constantly going back and forth to the hospital for checkups and chemotherapy. She was almost done chemo when I had to go back to school. I called my mom every day for 4 months, no matter what. In April, she started her 25 radiation treatments, so I decided to take my next work term off to take care of her. I could be with her and drive her to her radiation appointments every morning, and now her hair's coming back. With all that's been going on, I had a bit of an identity crisis. I didn't know what I liked, what I was good at, what I wanted to pursue. I was focused on school so much I haven't improved on myself in years. My page was blank. I came across a book called The 4-Hour Workweek, and it changed everything. My blank page became a dreamline, and I found out who I was and what I wanted to accomplish and what I loved doing. So I started a blog on WordPress called No Disappointment. I was surprised that I was getting comments on my blog, messages over Facebook, and my friends came up to me telling me that they liked my work and to keep writing. One friend said that when I write, I have a voice, and that was a huge turning point. Thanks, K-Dog. So I went on GoDaddy.com and I bought a domain name, yeahfitness.com. Now you know it as Young at Heart, a community dedicated to fitness, education, and lifestyle. A blog to help people like you improve your life. I've been doing so much. I wrote a free ebook, I learned about marketing, Photoshop, Illustrator, and I started networking. I learned to row with a local rowing club. I'm now a certified personal trainer, and I'm kinda learning Mandarin. Kinda. My friend had recently got engaged to his longtime sweetheart and asked me and my friends to be the groomsmen at his wedding. I have no idea what I'm doing or how to be a groomsman. All I know is Vegas? It's awesome because they're like the best couple ever. I started reading tons of books. I've read more books in the past month than I have in my whole life. Mostly nonfiction because I'm a nerd and I like learning. Right now, I'm traveling to Vietnam and Malaysia to visit and trace my roots and experience my parents' childhoods. And best of all, I'm going with my mom. So continue to live, love, and learn, because you never know when it's your turn to grow. And live young at heart. Thanks for watching.